secretaries, stop the sell-off now.
What a sight! What a sight! Was ever a hospital loved more than the Whittington Hospital? We are here to defend Islington Hospital. For Islington Hospital, where all of us have stories about Islington Hospital. Every family here, I bet, has a story about Islington Hospital where Islington Hospital has supported them. 10 years ago, my youngest was born. Islington Hospital saved my life. I love Islington Hospital. We all love Islington Hospital. That's why we're here, and we're here to defend it. Islington Hospital is the safest safest hospital in the entire country. Why are we not learning the lessons of mid-staffs? We cannot force the Islington Hospital to become a foundation trust too fast. It will simply mean that it will end up not being safe enough. We say no. We say no. We cannot have a hospital that will function properly, that will be viable, that will be able to provide the sort of services that we rely on if they cut half the beds. We say no. We say no. We cannot have a hospital that will provide proper services if they cut 570 members of staff. We say no. We say no. We say defend Islington Hospital. We say defend Whittington Hospital. We say fight for Whittington Hospital. We say this hospital has looked after us for generations and must continue to look after us for future generations. We say no to these plans. We say no to monitor. We say no to the health bill. We say yes, we must defend this hospital.
Defend innocent women.
Emily, thank you. Can people please continue? The next speaker has been very, very vociferous in our campaign, very, very supportive. We've got a lot of MPs on side. Here's another of them, David Lammy, who's the MP for Tottenham. Thanks, David.
Hello. Now, we are here in solidarity in Islington with the people of Haringey, yes? People in Turnpike Lane, Wood Green, Crouch End, Muswell Hill, who use this hospital. And I've got to say, is my colleague Lynn Featherstone here? No! Because we should all be here supporting this hospital. I said back in 2010 that I would chain myself to the doors of this hospital if they said they would close it, and that still stands. We saw them off in 2010, we're going to see them off again today. We stand with the nurses. Are there nurses here in this audience? We stand with the doctors. I can see patients up there looking down at us because we will not see them sell off this hospital. Did they consult you about selling off a third of this hospital? No. Did they consult you about selling off half of the beds? No. Did they consult you about those nurses' jobs? No. And that's why we march. We march for a hospital that is in the name of Dick Whittington. He was on his way to York and he turned back to London and he came back to take London, and we're back to save the Whittington. So we stand and we fight as we did in 2010. A hospital that served us all. A hospital in which I was born and my children were born. With all the nurses and doctors and patients that have built this hospital. A hospital with some of the best maternity services in London that has defended women. We stand to save the Whittington. We fight. I'm with you. Continue.
The next speaker is another person who's been very involved with the campaign from the beginning, Catherine West, who's the leader of Islington Council.
Thank you very much, Shirley. I became the leader of Islington Council in 2010, and we had some Mayor's Awards, and the first award of the evening went to Ms. Shirley Franklin. Can you put your hands together for Shirley? She's an Islington treasure, and she's a recipient of the Islington Mayor's Award from 2010. So well done, Shirley. Number 2, could you put your hands together for the newspapers, particularly the Islington Tribune, who, where's Tom Foot, where's Scoop? There's Scoop down there, who broke the story and let us all know. So a big well done to all of the journalists. It's really nice to know that at this time when we're looking at Leveson, that we have some really decent journalists. So well done to Tom and all the team. We have got honest, good journalists here in Islington and Camden, and we're really, really pleased to have that excellent journalist environment. The other person who is a real inspiration today is Angela Sinclair, who's well into her 80s, but she's got the spirit of 1945. Well done, Angela. We know in Islington, Camden, Haringey, in this area, we have massive health inequalities. That is why I am here on behalf of Islington Council to pledge my support and the support of all the councillors to the 250 nurses and the 24 doctors whose jobs have been at risk. And today we call on the Secretary of State to stand together with us and to pledge his support for our local hospital. We don't want it swallowed up by another larger hospital. We're here to defend all of those jobs and all of those people. We know, just like in Lewisham and in Ealing, and by the way, 27th of April, there is a big GMB organised event in Ealing. I want you all to turn out to that. Well done to the GMB for organising the Ealing rally. We need all the unions to work together, all the newspapers, all the councillors, all the MPs to save our NHS. Thank you, Shirley. Thank you, the papers. What a wonderful day. It's great to be here.
It's not a wonderful day.
Hands off our NHS.
Another stalwart in our campaign is a stalwart who's always been a stalwart for the health service, who was Secretary of Health for the last government. Please give a big hand of applause to Frank Dobson MP for Holborn and St Pancras.
I seem to have been campaigning on behalf of the people who work at the Whittington and the people who rely on the Whittington for about 1,000 years. I can remember coming long before the last Labour government, promising that we would invest in the Whittington and improve the Whittington and try to make sure that the buildings and equipment match the excellent dedicated staff. And the Labour government did that. But now we're threatened again, and I think that the policies here are insane. I can't think of any other way of describing it. We've got all this talk about not enough attention being paid to the needs of the elderly when they're in acute wards, or the needs of handicapped people in acute wards. But the Whittington is one of the safest hospitals in the whole of the country, right? And it has a few more nurses per patient than the national average. Now, I'm a simple soul. I think there may be some connection between the fact that there are a few more nurses than the national average and the way that they have a bit more time to care for the elderly, to care for the poor patients, and to care for the handicapped patients. And to be here now that they want that level of nursing reduced to some crackpot national average beggars belief. And the people who are trying to do this ought to pack in and disappear altogether. I won't go on any longer. You've got a lot of speakers to come, but keep up the fight, because the Whittington is a brilliant hospital doing a brilliant job for local people. We know that, and we've got to make sure everybody else knows that. Thank you very much.